Hi everyone, Tahara Ezrahti here with Applied Intuition, and I'm a trained clairvoyant and I teach clairvoyant development classes. And today I'm here with Corinne Cevaer-Corey. She's a counseling astrologer, and she's here to talk to us about what to expect with the 2024 Fall Equinox. So welcome, Corinne.
Thank you, Tahara. And I'm just looking forward to having a little astro chat with you. So we'll discuss this time around the fall equinox, which is going to be September 22nd, 2024. And what jumped at me right away was the fact that this particular equinox timing and chart falls between the two eclipses that we are experiencing at the moment. The first eclipse, the lunar eclipse, will be tomorrow, September 17th. The equinox, which is when the sun will enter into the new sign of Libra, that's going to be September 22nd, followed by the solar eclipse on October 2nd. So basically, the fall equinox, the entry of our sun into the sign of Libra, is going to be happening in between, sandwiched by the two eclipses. And I noticed that that's quite unusual. I looked back in 2022, 2023, didn't see that phenomenon. And in the spring, for the spring equinox of 2024, we had the spring equinox happen March 19th before the first eclipse, lunar eclipse on March 25th. And then the next series of eclipses in 2025, we're actually going to see the same thing in the spring of 2025. We're going to see the spring equinox, March 20th, being between the lunar eclipse of March 14th and the solar eclipse of March 29th. But then after that, in the fall, the equinox falls after the eclipse, and then so on. So I think the reason why I think that this particular fall is yet more intense than the next spring equinox will be is because of all the other astrological cosmic factors that are going on simultaneously all at once, giving us intensity, giving us just electric energy, full moon sensation every day, multiplied by 10. And so basically this particular equinox carries a heavy duty time, life, transformative, type of energy, and all the way until the end of the year. But it's probably the most intense in years. So we should all not feel so concerned that we're going through a lot, all of us, that, everyone is battling some kind of battle or war somewhere. And it's just normal. The intensity is normal. We are not crazy. And we will talk about, what the main themes of this chart carry. It's all about balance. But before I go there, I just wanted to say that I personally feel that the most pressured time period right now this fall for deep change and healing of all the generational and childhood traumas of all kinds, again, for the need to reach empowerment and sovereignty, for ourselves to wake up, to realize our full potential, and that we are not victims, and that we are powerful human beings. So that's the main lesson. We're going through deep transformation, transmutation. Energetically, our bodies are evolving. This fall is a lot is going on. And I personally feel that the most pressured time will be until Thanksgiving. And, maybe, well, the holidays are always crazy, but it might not be because of the stars. It'll just be because of how we conduct our lives. And that is because Pluto which just entered back into Capricorn for the last time in 248 years, just early September, will move out of Capricorn November 19th, but mid-November, there's also a Saturn station, which will create a sense of feeling overwhelmed and will create an energy of heaviness. And again, this pressure to just get our life in order. And that's going to dissipate by November 22nd or so. And so I really am looking forward to Thanksgiving, actually. But hopefully I do all the work and I'm all, you know, a new person as I reach Thanksgiving and Christmas. So so that's, you know, more or less the introduction of our little talk today. And do you have any questions, Tahara?
Yeah, so can you explain to people just briefly what's the significance of the fall equinox? I know that it's like we have equal amounts of daylight and nighttime, and so there's balance there. But is there anything else about not this fall equinox in particular, but just in general, the fall equinox that's significant?
They begin the two equinoxes, spring, fall, and then the summer solstice, winter solstice. They mark the beginning of the next 3 months, the next big kind of season. And all of the two solstices and the two equinoxes are when the sun, the spring one is when the sun enters Aries. The summer solstice is when the sun enters Cancer. And now it's Libra. And then, wait, did I miss one? Oh, and the December one, the December winter solstice is when the sun enters Capricorn. And these four signs are cardinal signs. They're the beginning of the season. Then you have the middle signs, which are the fixed signs, the middle of the season. And then you've got the mutable signs, which are, you know, ending the season, preparing, you know, finishing and ending in order to prepare for the new season to come up. So this is basically the beginning of a new season coming September 22nd.
Okay, so we can expect the effects of this to go for the next 3 months, basically.
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
basically, yeah. Sorry, I forgot to say.
No, that's okay.
Yes, until the next until the winter solstice, which is December 21st this year, because it fluctuates by a few days depending on you know, the calendar. So but it's usually hovers around the 20th, 21st, 22nd, 19th. You know, we have the beginning. That's when the sun in the sky is entering that 0 point of that sign of the zodiac. Yeah.
Okay, great. So go ahead and tell us what we can look forward to with this equinox.
Okay, so I saw 3 big themes. It's all about balance because this particular fall equinox is Libra. In Libra, sun enters Libra, and Libra is the sign of the scales, and it's everything to do with balance, balancing. So three main balances. I saw that it was a very emotional chart, number 1, a very spiritual chart, number 2, and a very social chart. So now all fall equinoxes may tend to be social because the sign of Libra is an air sign and it's all about social interactions, social events, yearning for connecting. Which is interesting that it covers this time when in the United States we have all these social holidays, right? Gatherings of people. But so let's just put the chart up real quick to show why. Right here, do you have it, Tahara?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, so for the emotional, you know, why is it an emotional chart? So here we can see that the sun and at 0, as you can see, Libra is in the 12th house across from Neptune here, which we'll cover in point 2, spiritual chart. But basically this house here, the 12th house across from the 6th house, these two houses have a lot to do with spiritual, well, mental health, emotional health, physical health for the 6th house, emotional health, and spiritual health for the 12th house. But I looked at the previous two, the fall equinox of last year and the fall equinox of the following year, just to see, curious. And I ran them 3 in Washington, D.C. for us in the United States. And so this particular fall equinox is in the 12th house, but the previous one was in the 2nd house. And the next one will be in the 9th house, completely different domains of life. So I just wanted to highlight that this is also kind of multi-layered themes saying the same thing about this fall in general. And the 12th house is usually the house of our shadows with an S. It's the deep unconscious. It's what is unseen. It's what in the closet. That's the 12th house. It's deeply spiritual, but because spirituality leads to, internal life, introspection, and going within. And so about the emotional aspect, we need to find emotional equilibrium, which we can see here. The sun is trine right here, the moon. We need to see nervous system equilibrium, because right here, this moon is conjunct Uranus, which can create quite a bit of nervousness in people and put us on this alert, fight or flight or freeze state. There is a lot of stress going on in the world. In the United States in particular, we are having, I wrote for myself, universal stress level is at its peak. And because of Pluto being in Capricorn at the last degree, which is a critical degree, every last degree of every sign is a critical degree. And Pluto is there, and it's sitting there, for like September, October until November 19th. And as I said, for the rest of our lifetime, we will never experience Pluto in Capricorn again. So it's the most intense position that this planet is having to finish up 16 years of teaching us lessons to do with Capricorn, which we covered in other videos that we did in the past. And it's really, to sum it up, it's about letting go to grow. It's death and rebirth. It's healing our deep grief and traumas, and whether they be from this lifetime or passed down generations. And we are the people in our family that have, at the soul level, decided that we're it. All of this baggage is ending with us, and we're taking on the work. We're doing the work to release through our physical bodies, releasing all the negative patterns, the negative brain wiring that we have, in order to heal and start living as joyful human beings again, and not, like chicken running with their head cut off, which most of us are these days. So here as well, you see Venus is the planet that rules Libra. The sun is in Libra. The ascendant of this particular chart is in Libra, and Venus, the ruler of both the sun in Libra and the ascendant in Libra, is also at a critical degree square that Pluto, explaining all that I just mentioned. And then, so it's about, ultimately, Pluto is about abandonment, loss, grief, shame, guilt, and its power dynamics that are unbalanced, control, excessive control. Pluto is about feeling rejected, separation. So at the same time, it's the greatest healer of the zodiac. And when we are able to transmute or integrate Pluto, wherever it is sitting in our chart is where we are feeling very vulnerable, but it's also where we have tremendous potential to have great power. And so this journey with this Venus square Pluto right there is all about reaching a state of empowerment, especially for women, Venus, in the fields of creativity, in artistic fields. Venus is also, you know, all about balance. It's the fine things of life, relationships, girlfriend relationships, relationships of all types. Venus also rules worth and money and, you know, assets, and that's more because she's also the co-ruler of the sign of Taurus. But as Venus being in Libra, it's really all about relationships. So yeah, so another aspect that highlights the reason why we're talking about healing and deep transformation, deep change, in order to find where it is that we can be, where in our lives we can express our own personal power and courage and confidence. So here again, Sun is conjunct South Node, and the South Node is the South Node opposed the North Node. They're not planets; they're points in the sky. They have to do with the Sun, Moon, and they're actually linked to the eclipses as well. But the South Node is, at the soul level, is our gifts and what we came with that we've already done in the past. So we know how to do the South Node, and our soul is needing to practice how to do the North Node in this lifetime. And the North Node here is in Aries. So there is this Libra Aries opposition, and it's again about finding balance. We'll talk about it when we go to relationships, because it's me versus them, and, you know, sovereignty versus service to others, and so on. But so yes, point one, very emotional chart. And then we could come back to the chart, you know, if you have questions, Tahara. Or do you have questions right now about the emotion?
Well, just when I look at the chart, one of the things that really stands out for me is that there's these stressful aspects, like you pointed out, the Venus squaring Pluto, and then we have you know, Jupiter squaring Mercury, and but then there's this grand trine. So it's like there's stress, but there's also help. It seems like,
yeah, and I'll talk about all the help at the end. You know, like we'll end up on a good note. But I wanted to show you here. This is my chart that I drew. You know, and
here, let's stop the screen share, and then you can show us that on the big picture. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I included Ceres because it's a planetary body that I like to work with when I see a heavy duty Pluto. Ceres in mythology is linked to Pluto, and you know, she speaks of all these themes that I just was talking about. And so you could see that I have a grand cross in this chart, which is 4 squares basically. And even when you take Ceres out, as you were pointing out, Tahara, there are plenty of squares, you know, the Venus square Pluto, the let me see, the Mars, the nodal axis is square Mars. And so there is an element of violence. There is an element of Mars in Cancer is all about, well, I'm going to fight for my security because I'm not feeling safe. And Mars is like the warrior, right? It's the courage. It's the leader. But in Cancer, it's all about protecting our loved ones and what we care about. So it can be protecting our family, big mama bear energy, you know, and it's protecting family, protecting the nation, protecting the state, protecting the house, protecting whatever it is that we are, you know, like, okay, to feel safe and secure. And so we have this big theme in this equinox chart. So yeah, we could speak a bit more about that a bit later if you want, but I mean, if you have more questions, but I wanted to move to the spiritual part of it.
Yeah, I think that's good. That was kind of a interesting little segue there. So go ahead and tell us about the spiritual
Yeah,
aspect.
I mean, I could talk hours. So we're trying to make it short. So the spiritual chart, so yeah, it's about finding balance again, right? The theme is let's all find balance, right? So emotional balance, spiritual balance, and then the last one will be social balance. So spiritual balance, because as we saw, there was 12th house, 8th house, the sun opposite Neptune. That's a big one. The opposition of the 12th house, 6th house that I mentioned, the Mercury opposite Neptune as well, and Chiron, which I don't know if I've got in, I didn't have it in that chart, but I could show you on my chart that I did. Chiron right here is this point right here, right? Like here.
Right. So tell us what Chiron
Chiron
signifies.
right here is the wounded healer. So also a point in the sky that has to do with healing and healing wounds, you know, and hurt and pain. It is angular, meaning that it's on the angle, so that highlights it. And I've got the North Node in Aries, which also, you know, because spiritual balance is also balance within oneself. So North Node in Aries, which is calling us to do this work, where we have to balance the yin and the yang, the feminine, the masculine, our balance with nature as well, you know, and that's a whole big theme, but it's very important that we just go there. And that's highlighted by that sun opposite Neptune's 12th house, 6th house, connecting with the animals, connecting with Mother Nature, and releasing the victimhood consciousness, you know, releasing the addictions that we all have to something. And that realizing that we are responsible for all in our life, which very often is very difficult to get there. But once we have that realization that we could start, you know, getting to that next level of consciousness and practicing the law of attraction and really monitoring and watching our thoughts, which is extremely difficult to do. And I'm constantly failing, but I catch myself and I try again. And so,
well, that's part of that. That's part of the releasing the victimhood. When you realize that you actually are able to create, then you can't really blame everyone else for
but we can
what's
also
happening.
not blame others, but not blame the government, not blame
Right.
other nations, not blame anything actually that is outside of self, because the whole entire world, and that's that Neptune consciousness, we are all one, including with the galactic. What was I saying there? That the whole world is within. And
Okay.
you know, and on a daily basis, when we're being triggered and we're really trying to push through and heal whatever issues we're having at the moment that we're working on, is really, really hard, you know, to get there. But there are two tools that I use a lot and I've been using lately a lot. One is the Ho'oponopono, of course, and I have a particular resonance with that particular practice because being born in Tahiti, you know, and this is a Hawaiian, Polynesian, I feel attuned with that particular philosophy of I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. So the practice of gratitude, every time we can catch ourselves to just think gratitude as opposed to whatever it is we're thinking, that could help to breathe more light into ourselves and calm the nervous system, the vagus nerve, and then walking in nature would do that too. So it's that sixth house, 12th house, where we're having the emotional, you know, spiritual healing, and then the mental, the physical healing, which is the Virgo Mercury, 6th house. but the Neptune, which is extremely powerful in this chart because it's opposed the sun, but it's also at the head of this kite that we'll talk about later. It's all about, creativity, expressing ourselves through faith, creativity, spirituality. It's increasing our psychic abilities, increasing our trust in the universe. It's about freedom as well, inner freedom. Everything is energy, and water is ruled, Neptune rules water, and I forgot what his first name is, Emoto, like the
Oh yeah, I know
the
the guy
Japanese
who
person
took
that had
photos of
many years
water.
ago,
Right.
many years ago had, scientifically proven that water carries our thoughts and carries energy. So when you think about the fact that we are 100%, not 100%, but 70% or a very high percentage water ourselves, we're literally crystals, really. So the higher the frequency, and we can only raise our resonance and frequency using positive thoughts, using gratitude thoughts, right? Oh, and the second tool that I've been using that I just discovered recently was channeled by Hope Fitzgerald, and you could look her up on YouTube, and she shares this tool for all of us, and it's called the infinity water wave. And it's literally a figure eight, like a infinity sign, but it's formed of water. And the two parts where they don't touch, they don't, it doesn't cross and touch. So there is flow. And we can just visualize this infinity wave, water wave. We can feel whatever color wants to come, we let it be that color, right? Sometimes I'm calling the wave and it's gold, and sometimes it's lagoon blue, and sometimes it's purple, different colors, whatever of you need in that moment, that's what is gonna come to your visualization. And you just can place it in your heart, you can place it around your body, you can anchor it deep into the earth and reach very high to Father Sky, and be in it. But it's just it's a very powerful tool to bring about compassion and heart. And because of the water, we're back to Neptune here, and we're back to like water can carry this highest vibration. And if we call, this divine infinity wave, then we're bringing to us, and perhaps, I don't know, but perhaps when we do this exercise, the water in our body starts resonating at that higher frequency, because supposedly this infinity wave comes from higher dimensions, spiritual dimensions. So there are many tools, that we have, sounds, tuning forks and sound bowls, and just many practices, Qigong, yoga, and so on, that will help all of us to just reach that place of calm. And breath work now, that's taken on huge, and people will just go to breath work sessions,
Right.
So,
okay, so I
yeah.
know that we're kind of getting short on time, so go ahead and
Okay.
tell us.
So,
kind
and
of
then
your
the last balance is again social. So it's balance in relationships. So there's a lot of introspective going on this fall to do with, examining different relationships and making sure that we're reassessing, reevaluating to make sure that if they're toxic, that we make the decision, we have the courage to just withdraw ourselves from toxic relationships and relationships that bring us down. And the nature, it could be that we stay in the relationship with those friends or connections, but the nature of it changes because we're changing, we're doing the work. And then balance in alliances, whether they be educational, political, economic, military, between us and the world. the negative, the shadow side of Libra is people pleasing, right? And not being able to kind of like putting ourselves in both people's shoes and not being able to make a decision, you know, not being able to just be, I don't know.
Well, being a Libra, I can speak to that a little bit, where you're trying to be fair, because Libra is about
Right.
being fair
Justice.
too. So in this quest to be fair, you kind of, what about this? What about that? Am I being fair? And it can look like or feel like indecisiveness, but it's really, in the most positive aspect, I think, a real desire to be fair and to do things in the right way with integrity. And sometimes that can take a while and can take a lot of thinking and deliberation. And it's not a quick thing, you know, like Aries is quick, right? But Libra is like, well, let me think about this and weigh out all the possibilities and what's the right thing to do. And then,
Right. So
you know,
then,
present it in a way that feels okay also, instead of presenting it in a harsh way, or that's so a little complicated.
and that actually, you know, you just mentioned, like, you know, analysis paralysis. It could lead you, if we go to the extreme, if we are unbalanced, then, you know, we become overly logical and overly controlling and too much attention to detail. And that's like the excess of Libra, but also of Virgo that we were talking about. And, you know, it's about not being afraid anymore to not be perfect, you know. Yeah, so that could be the shadow of Libra, and you know, and the negative of too much Virgo, which in this chart is showing itself. But back to social, there is a lot of air in this chart with the sun in Libra. So those are partnerships, one-on-one relationships, you know, with our life partner, with, if we are in a relationship with someone at work, that's like, you know, a partnership, one-on-one. Like you and I right now, we're in a Libra relationship. You know, people that have clients just one at a time, that's Libra relationships. And then you've got the Aquarius, and Pluto's moving to Aquarius, and you know, we're entering the Aquarian era, and that's all about social circles and groups and friends and communities and just the collective and the well-being, altruistic aspirations, and, you know, for the well-being of the collective. And then the moon here in this chart is in Gemini, and that's all about networking and social networks and local communities also, you know, the local fabric of the local social fabric in our life. And so there is this fall, this increased sense of needing to belong to communities, to social groups, to friend groups, or simply make friends that we feel like we're on the same page with them. And, you know, in order to boost our own confidence and sense of feeling connected and valued, which we all want to be. So there's this increasing consciousness, awareness about the fact that there is a shared humanity here. And it's not just this side versus that side, which is that Libra Aries that's in this chart. So there is this really, really thirst for unity that's coming through this fall, you know, observing all the crises that are going on. And I think we're literally moving to a better era, a more optimistic era, where people will come back to realizing that we all the same, we all want the same thing, and we all one, and we deserve better than this division and strife and hatred and violence. And so I think we're seeing the worst of it this fall, and it's over after that. I'm truly, genuinely believing in this. And we are getting this huge help from the universe through this chart, through the stars. They are in this beautiful flow energy. I can share the chart again. Flow energy, which is shown by all the blue lines. You see them, the blue lines? So we have a grand trine, and then we have a mini grand trine, and then that forms a kite, which, is not often that you have a kite in charts. And it's not that often that you have grand trines. So it's quite exceptional. And as you see, at the peak of it is the sun, the equinox, the entry of the sun into Libra forms the peak of this beautiful formation here. And across the way is Neptune, that spiritual planet that's asking of us to just let go and let God, and that to just go with the flow and then trust the universe. And there are two other, oh, sorry, I'm going to share again. There are two other trines in addition, which I have Venus here, Venus, where she is here. Venus to Jupiter, which is even an extra trine. And then we have Mars to Saturn, which is an extra trine. In addition to the grand trine, the mini grand trine, which form the kite, we have two other trines connected to Venus and Mars, which is incredible. It's a blessing. We're having so much flow, so much aid, so much divine protection, honestly. I really, really believe that whatever ends up happening, we are being protected. The worst case scenarios will not take place. And people should stop being in fear. And if the media is creating fear, they should just turn it off and not want to believe any of it, because it's just not going to happen. And we're moving to the new era. We've been moving toward that new era for the past few years, but it needed this transition period, and we've been in this transition period, and we're reaching the end of the transition period. And then with 2025 coming in, I really believe the energies are going to be feeling much lighter, and they'll start feeling much lighter already as of Thanksgiving. I hope. We'll see.
I'm super excited also for 2025, because this clearing has been going on for a long time. And I feel like, yeah, we're finally at a line of demarcation. And this is the last push. And it's a chance to clear the last bits of things we don't want to bring into 2025 with us. But I also, I'm not an astrologer, but just clairvoyantly reading the energy of 2025, it feels much, much, much better. And a lot of healing, a lot of the ripped apart relationships that have happened over the last couple of years with all the politics and the pandemic and all that. I feel like there's some possibility of people coming out of that, and
I hope so. I pray so.
Yeah, healing and realizing like, wow, that was just that was a weird time that we went through, but we're really still one community, and we have to respect our neighbors and treat people, with dignity, regardless if they agree with us on everything or not. That's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah. Well, discussion should be reintroduced. And it will, because all these outer planets, which are like generational planets, they move so slowly that when they affect us in our personal chart, we're going through a tough time, because we're like, it's a huge growth period. We're basically losing our naivete. We're growing up. We're facing the music. We're having to to change, and change is always a difficult thing for all of us, even if we're not a fixed sign. And but those generational planets, transpersonal planets. I was forgetting the term, which are Neptune, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. They're all going to move, not quite in 2025. They'll be transition in 2025, but in early 2026, they're all going to move to the fire and air signs. So we're moving out of this heavy duty earth water And I think the last like big kick of that earth, you know, like, no, you're going to be anchored, you know, and just heavy. And that's just leaving us with the end of this year, you know, as Pluto moves into Aquarius already, November 19th. And then the other guys, you know, Uranus in Taurus, very fixed earth, and Neptune in Pisces at the end of the last sign of Pisces of the zodiac, Pisces. That's a biggie. And they're all moving, like Neptune into Aries, and then Uranus into Gemini, air sign. Aries is fire sign, and then Pluto already will have moved into air, Aquarius, this fall. So
Great.
much lighter energy, and things are going to move faster. And you know, great advances, technological breakthroughs. I mean, very exciting new world is coming. You know, it really is. We are at the edge, the beginning of the age of a new age of renaissance, but worldwide this renaissance. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So that's a good place to wrap it up. I want to let people know that we did a whole other video talking about the lunar eclipse, which is September 17th, and the solar eclipse, which is October 2nd. So if you want to get more info on that, you can go refer to those. And Corinne, you want to let people know how they can get a hold of you? They want an astrology reading?
Through my website, Core Awakening, CORA awakening.com, Core Awakening, and my Gmail email, coreawakening@gmail.com. They can reach me through these two ways. And I'm on Instagram too at Core Awakening, Facebook, LinkedIn. I never go on it.
Okay, well, thank you so much. And we'll buckle our seatbelts in, but we'll keep a positive attitude, and you know, look forward to what the fall brings. So take care, everyone.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Okay, take
Thank
care,
you
everyone.
so
Bye-bye.
much, Tahara. Thank you. Blessings.
Bye, everybody.